Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in. I'm Connell, content producer for Mining Indaba. As part of our digital diary series and in keeping with this month's theme of artisanal mining, we're delighted to present an exciting new interview with Rob Karpati, Senior Advisor at the Blended Capital Group. In this interview, Mining Indaba Head of Content Laura Cornish and Rob talk about artisanal mining and responsible sourcing, how large-scale miners and artisanal miners can coexist, and why should investors be interested in artisanal mining. Take a look.
Thank you very much, Laura. I was really looking forward to the opportunity and really appreciate the opportunity to talk about important work in ASM.
Brilliant. So, Rob, you actually seem to be quite an expert on artisanal mining. Don't you want to share a bit of your background that has led to being an expert in this field?
Thanks. So I'm corporate finance by trade, and I had a 30-year career in multinationals. And about 4 or 5 years ago, it was time to align my values with my purpose. So responsible mining and artisanal mining gradually became my focus. And the bottom line is artisanal mining is, number one, it's huge. There's 45 million miners out there. It's an area with clear challenges and massive opportunities for impact, dignity, human rights, sustainable development. And it also impacts the broader economy of countries where it's at and regions where it's at, given critical minerals and how it underlays the energy transition, and how precious metals and how it underlays financial security.
Fantastic. So, Rob, you and I have become connected via LinkedIn, and specifically on a post that you shared talking or asking if big miners can fix artisanal mining. So briefly, I think let's explore, Rob, from your perspective, why big miners should fix artisanal mining. Surely the greater piece lies with governments in that area?
So it's a great question. And so first things first, the word fixed isn't the word I choose to use. I'd use the word engage with and collaborate with and figure out what win-win looks like. So why? Pretty simple. Artisanal mining a lot of the time happens on the land concession of large mines. They're cousins, whether or not they work together or not. So from a large mining company perspective, risks around ASM are there and opportunities are there. So risks meaning conflict, legal, PR, reputation, anything and everything that comes down to, and there's financial impact from all that. From a collaboration point of view, what does productivity look like, and how does that jointly lift up value for artisanal miners as well as large-scale mining companies? So the very fact they coexist, and the very fact that the risks and opportunities are there, regardless of whether they collaborate, is a call for collaboration as far as I'm concerned.
So, Rob, you've clearly outlined why collaboration is necessary. It makes complete sense. Now we need to understand what that collaboration looks like, or how to go about getting collaboration between artisanal miners and large-scale minings. Can you share your insights around the best way to go about this, Rob?
So details vary by project and by region, of course, because local realities vary. But there's a few things that hold true generally. First, artisanal miners a lot of the time were there before the large projects, and they're facts on the ground, they're extensions of the community. So treating them as stakeholders that matter, treating them as part of community engagement and trying to earn social license is a really good starting point, because it's showing respect, it's showing value, it's providing the right context with broader relationships. So as that work happens, large-scale miners can engage artisanal miners several ways. So, of course, large-scale miners have expertise. They have equipment. They know what mining looks like and what strong practices are. So supporting that is one thing, and engaging with artisanal miners who are on their land concession is one thing, because it lowers risk, it increases productivity, and it builds that relationship that matters. The second thing, and maybe more broader based, is artisanal mining is often informal. It's not organized into cooperatives. It's not organized into predictable, stable business relationships. So supporting the professionalization and legitimization of this sector, so formalization, in other words, is all about supporting artisanal miners as they organize for success and collaboration with the large-scale miners. So bottom line is, do what makes sense locally, but remember they matter, remember they're there, and support their development, because their development is part of the large mines development as well.
There's an alignment, Rob. That's basically what you're saying, and it makes sense to work together. So I want to touch on something that I think is going to get some real interesting remarks from you. And you work, Rob, for a company called the Blended Capital Group. And obviously that sits in the financial bracket of supporting mining. So why, from an investor's perspective, is this topic so important? Do artisanal miners not, in reality, have more of a negative impact on miners' activities rather than a positive one?
So I appreciate the question. And so the Blended Capital Group, it's about last mile impact and alignment of stakeholders towards impact. It was actually founded by Paul Clemens Hunt about 12 years ago, I want to say. And he's the person who coined the phrase ESG back in the day. And so it's all about how do you create development and drive positive impact by bringing investors, by bringing partners, by bringing a raft of different stakeholders towards common cause. So artisanal mining, well, does it have negative impacts? Well, artisanal mining, the way I think about it, it's facts on the ground. The people are there. These are people who are trying to trying to find work and trying to find dignity of work. And the opportunity isn't whether it should be there. The question is, what could it look like? Can environmental factors, can social factors, can business factors be set up for success around everyone? There's a narrative, and we've all heard it in mining, that ASM is off to the side, it's disorganized, it's illegal. But what does illegal really mean? It's a choice. It's traditional work. Mining's existed forever, and the original miners, what were they? They were artisanal miners at the end of the day. So collaborating with them is all around finding ways to create joint positive impacts, both for the larger mine and for the artisanal, which of course addresses the environmental and social factors and gets past the narrative, which is a fundamentally false narrative that it's illegal. Because what does that even mean when it's a choice?
Interesting thoughts, especially around illegal mining, Rob. I don't know if the industry quite thinks about it, but I think it's a valid point that you share. So I want to take the transparency of conversation that you've now started and take it one step further. I think we all know that the topic of artisanal mining is not new. And, as an industry, we have collectively been speaking about this for many years. But what do we need to do to evolve this conversation to the next step? We need to take a step forward. We keep talking about it, but we haven't yet. What is that next step, Rob? Realistically, what do we need to do? And what is the time frame, honestly, in terms of getting there?
Great question. And so with 45 million artisanal miners spread over 80 plus countries, the time frame is generational. It's going to take years and decades to shift outcomes around the globe. So in terms of what we need to do, to me, it all starts with value chain analysis. And what are we talking about? ASM will access to financing. ASM is often deemed illegal because there's a false narrative. We just talked about it a minute ago. And ASM often lacks access to equipment and best practice. So, and the last thing is traceability. So where does the artisanally mined product go, and how does it get there, and is there validation and traceability? So those are the natural focus areas over time. What does formalization look like that's standard-based, that bakes in traceability? What's the win-win for investors? Well, dignity's raised up because value is raised up, but so is productivity. And productivity combined with the seal of responsible mining means that there's genuine commercial value there for investors over the course of time as formalization takes hold. And that's going to take a long time, and that's precisely what we're working on, framing and defining and driving. So is there a piece around legal frameworks that go with that? Yes. Is there a piece around locally apt engagement, recognizing the voice of the miners matters? Yes. Equipment, training, all the rest of it? Yes. And by definition, does traceability need to be part of the puzzle, which is blockchain driven potentially? Again, yes. But bringing all of that together, it's all about dealing with the fundamental gaps across the value chain, which boil down to financing, access to equipment and capital through financing, and legal frameworks.
Interesting, Rob. Very, very interesting, especially the concept of generational, right? I suppose I've never really thought about it like that, but it makes complete sense. So this is a conversation we need to keep having until that impact, that change can actually occur together with the generations of artisanal miners that are working on these sites. I think, Rob, you've shared some insightful views. You've certainly interested my awareness around artisanal mining on a level that I hadn't necessarily thought of before, and hopefully some of your insights will be well received by mining industry. Thank you so much for your time taken with me today, Rob.
Thank you very much. And it's a very important topic with massive potential. And I, like I said at the outset, really appreciated the opportunity to talk about what matters.
Super. Rob, thank you very much.